I want to have a moment of being very transparent with you so that you can see that you're not the only one that goes through fears and discouragement, sometimes doubting yourself, wondering how you're going to make it, what's going on, when things are going to change and get better, and so on and so on. I go through the same things at times. And this is how I snatch that fear out of me, because I force it to sit into the presence of God. So I force my feelings. I say, okay, I'm feeling like I'm not really sure if I can do this, or I'm not really sure what's going to become of my finances in this situation. So then what I do is I match it up and I force it to sit in God's presence. You may say, well, Z, how do you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you. I find a promise from God that has to do with my situation. Does that make sense? And then I look at it and I say, okay, so is this feeling that I have, or this fear, does it stand? Can it last through the fire in terms of what God is showing me here? So here's an example. When I'm afraid, I'm not sure what's going to happen, I automatically think about Romans 8:15, and I have to identify, wait a minute, this spirit didn't come from God, the spirit of fear, because that passage teaches me that I didn't give you a spirit of fear. You get my point? When I'm not sure if I have enough finances to take care of whatever I need to take care of, I automatically think of 2 Kings 4. Remember the widow who didn't have much at all? She wasn't even sure how she was going to take care of her kids. And it was just a horrible story that was going on. But look what Elijah did. And look how he helped her to see, you got something that you can use. There's something there that you can use. And turns out it was this jar. And she said, only have a little bit of oil in it. You can read that story later and look at what happened and how that turned around. Does that make sense? When I'm tempted to feel like, maybe I'm not, able to help people like I thought. Maybe I'm not, as, I don't know the right word to use, but, maybe I don't have what it takes. I automatically think about Judges. I think about Gideon in the book of Judges, chapter 6 and 7, because Gideon felt like he was the least in his clan. He was very discouraged. God took his army down from 32,000 men to only 300, and they still won the war. You get my point? You match up those feelings with the promises of God. And if it doesn't hold to be true, you say, you know what? What I'm feeling right now, these frustrations, these fears, these worries, these concerns, this does not determine my destiny. Does that make sense? Now, I can give you a lot more. Read Psalms chapter 1, verse 1 through 3. See what happens to the person that loves the word of God, and see why it teaches us that person's going to be prosperous in what they do. So you always want to grab and have these promises that you can hold on to. And then when those fears and those worries and all those concerns come, because we're human, right? We have them. Then you can turn around and say, I know I'm feeling this way, but this is what the promises of God teaches me. And I'm going to meditate and pray on that. Does that make sense? I love you all. God knows I do. And I pray this has helped you. Bye-bye.